guys, this is a prime example of something I think there's a teaching moment in this. And it's going to sound weird if I don't get in a car wreck first. That this was my, this is like a follow-up of that blog post or vlog that I just did when I went on like a crying craze. Anyway, okay, so take a look at this. Do you see those? Did you see them? The ices and the blow pops. Okay, so like there's a meaning behind this. Have you ever noticed that when people are in pain or having a hard time or struggling, there's a certain reason that you go to certain things to fix that pain? And this was something I learned through a book I had read from actually the person by the name of Susie Orman, and it was a financial book. But it was actually, there's a lot of stuff in that woman is a genius when it comes to like the, you know, brain power, and I don't know what I'm trying to say. I do know what I'm trying to say. It's just hard for me to say it. Anyway, there's a lot of stuff to be learned through that stuff, you know, her book psychologically, not only with the, because she talks about money. But anyway, so she kind of gives you this thing in one of the books, and she talks about like she's trying to get you to understand where you resort to going back to why you spend money the way you do or why you save money the way you do. And this isn't about money, but it's about the same concept of like your pleasure and pain and what you do to try to make yourself feel better. So you have to go back to when you were young and early childhood and figure out what it was, because your frontal lobe and your cortex of your brain has actually memorized that those pleasurable moments. So whatever it is that you're feeling pain, that's why you're always going to lean towards that way of when you were really young and how you were able to fix that and make yourself happy. Well, there's a lot of like medical stuff and like brain stuff to go along with that. I'm not using big words or anything. I'm not using like scientific words and stuff for like frontal lobe and blah, blah, blah and whatever. Well, maybe I just did. But anyway, the whole point is that when the prime example of the ices, which I'm trying to work through this with my oils and stuff instead of relying on that as my go-to when I have pain, is that when I was really, really young and I was a little girl and I was dealing, like I had an addict as a father. I mean, he was an alcoholic, and, you know, I was raised around a lot of drug addiction. I mean, it's everywhere in my family. Like, you know, family members, like a large percentage are incarcerated. You know, there's been murder. I mean, addicts, dealers. I mean, some of my family are dealers. I mean, it's just really, really bad. And so the only way, I mean, luckily my mother was a Christian, and I think that is what helped me. I mean, that is what saved me from becoming an addict. But anyway, that's what I believe. That's my personal belief. But the whole thing was, so the way that I would fix my pain is that my dad showed his love through buying me things and giving me money. So that was the only way my dad knew how to show love. I don't have like any bad regards towards my dad or anything. I adore my dad. But what I'm saying is psychologically, that is the way that he fixed stuff and made me feel better. And so because he couldn't be there emotionally because he was an alcoholic, that I believe was his way to fix things, because you always do what works for you, for your children, what worked for your parents. So if you're not going to go with something like become an addict, you go completely against it. And anyway, I'm rambling again, you guys, but I hope you see the beauty in this particular analogy is that you see my first reaction after that crying session and feeling bad about myself. I thought, I'm going to get an icy and some blow pops. That will make me feel better because it's sugar. And that is the way that I dealt and coped with my pain when I was little. And it wasn't about eating food or anything, because I knew food was going to make me fat and I wouldn't get love if I was fat. So what I would do is I ate candy all the time. If the world was horrible and everything was terrible and there was no food in the house, if I had candy or a piece of bubble gum, anything that had sugar in it, Kool-Aid, I would eat Kool-Aid, like just dipping my finger in it until it was gone. That made me feel better and happy. And also it triggers those certain, nerve nerves and all those pleasurable things in your brain, which doesn't help, but that's what creates an addict. So you can be a heroin addict and you're just as bad if you're, I know people like in regards don't think of that as that bad, because I just feel like heroin addicts are not, it's not a morality thing. It's, some people can, you might not be breaking the law, but you're an addict. So anyway, so that's how I've tried. I've tried to get off candy, but at least I bought it, but I didn't partake of it. Like I just thought, okay, I'm going to give it to the kids. And I know that I've come a long way in my healing and stuff, but do you see, I went and bought it. I actually bought it and I thought this will make me feel better, but nope, it's not going to make me feel better. It's just my addiction coming out. And anyway, I hope that you got something from that, because it just goes to show you that some things are very difficult and they're lifelong challenges for people. So whether you are a drug addict, an alcoholic, or a sugar addict, they're all still a struggle. And so just try to remember that when you're going through the motions and you're actually about to do it and you're about to take it or you're about to buy it or you're about to do whatever, just remember, like, you have to work through those mental barriers without going to the addiction. So anyway, there's my other recap on I don't know. I just thought it was a good analogy of, like, you see what can happen mentally with somebody that struggles with addiction, because I'm very addictive personality oriented. So okay, there was boy, this is emotionally draining. Okay, I love you, Mermaid Junkies. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you think anybody would enjoy this or benefit from this, I hope that you share my video. I know I'm not like famous on YouTube. I'm not any of that. I'm just trying to share a message of rawness and authenticity, and that we're all working together. We need to all love each other and work together and try to be better people, better human beings, and have better spirits and grow and love ourselves more. Love yourself. It's not selfish. It's selfish not to love yourself. Okay? I love you. Ciao.